exercise our right to free speech. I won't be silenced, even though I'm a little hoarse today, so please excuse. On June 6, 2012, the Wasaki family of companies dropped their 6,130 animal unit bomb on our community, also announcing their plan to deforest 12 square miles of Saratoga for irrigated crop growth from 49 high-capacity wells that would draw 7.3 billion gallons of water from our aquifer per year. I knew it couldn't possibly be an operation the DNR would permit, given our permeable sandy soils and our susceptible groundwater, that 5,200 residents, the second highest population density in our county, we rely on those shallow wells for our drinking water. We don't have municipal water. Well, I sure had a lot to learn. All CAFO permits are approved. It has been 1,598 days, or 52 months and 16 days, or 4 years and 138 days, however you want to look at it. It's been a long, hard lesson about the massive regulatory failure of the DNR and the hostile political environment that we're dealing with. The long and short of this is there must be change. The problem started here. It must end here. It is now our job to educate others about local and statewide impacts of the CAFO industry. My first contact with the DNR after the Wasaki announcement was with someone that was sympathetic to our situation. I actually liked him very much, and I told him that. And he said, everyone says that until the day that I have to sign the permits. He gave me the advice to stay close to home for the information that we were seeking for an EIS that we had attained. Our governor had tried very hard to make sure that the CAFO permitting process was streamlined and that couldn't happen, but we did make it happen. Well, it wasn't hard to do. The Wasaki companies have a CAFO called Central Sands Dairy just across the Wisconsin River from Saratoga. They have given us much evidence, a crystal ball per se, indicating exactly what would happen in our community. The same soils, the same permeable issues with highly susceptible water to contamination. One thing that we found over there are extremely high nitrates in monitoring wells and in private wells, along with coliform, E. coli, and pesticides. I'm currently working with a woman whose nitrates are at 36 milligrams per liter, and she has 15 different trace pesticides in her water. This revelation came after her water was tested because surgical incisions were not healing after 8 weeks. She no longer showers in her own home and spends 5 hours a day, 5 hours distilling 1 gallon of drinkable water. She is a nurse and knows the reality of what her water was doing to her. County conservation would not help, nor DNR, nor the health department. Finally, Department of Agriculture, Trade, and Consumer Protection, which I find kind of humorous that those are all lumped together, came and tested her water, and their solution was giving her a unique well number. What good does that do her? And telling her to install a reverse osmosis system on her dime. There are others that their nitrates are at 45. They've got nowhere to go. Nobody else is going to pay for them to have water. That CAFO operator isn't going to do it. Other situations in that community just across the river from Saratoga pertain to manure irrigation from center pivots, destroying quality of life for the residents. that live in that area. Unbelievable stench and flies. Property can no longer be enjoyed. They've also been subjected to devaluation of property. There's no business though in their community either. A corporation refusing to own up to their contamination and fighting through high-powered attorneys, making sure that they have to do nothing about the issues. This is who we're dealing with. This is who everybody's dealing with here. It's the same story in every community. Serious illness and death are prevalent, and they seem to surpass average numbers. Asthma and other chronic lung issues seem to be at an awfully high rate. An increased cost for water testing, it's a burden that falls on the residents, and the treatment systems are unaffordable for many of these people. There are so many other issues, but I'm not going to take up too much more of your time. We must be certain there are safeguards in place to help preserve rural and urban communities from the contamination threats of CAFO operations. The health and well-being of Wisconsin residents must be a priority. Over and above the self-enabled CAFO industry. It still shocks me that a manure lagoon can leak 500 gallons per day, per acre, into the groundwater, and it's acceptable. And it's not a violation at all. What's wrong with this picture? Can anybody tell me that? Regulations must be implemented to protect the people. The self-regulated and self-reporting industry, it's a broken system. There must be enforcement of health and environmental standards. There also must be common sense used and the precautionary principle applied. What happened to the people? Where do we fit into this equation? We have to immediately support legislation being passed that would correct the DNR's flawed rulemaking and lack of enforcement brought to light in the June 2016 Legislative Audit Bureau's report on the DNR's wastewater permitting program. Let's face it, Wisconsin has lost much ground in protecting our ground and surface water under the current administration. It did start under another administration, but it's just run amok. We must call on this legislature to protect our drinking water from runoff and other contamination statewide. Water knows no boundaries, no town or county or state. Therefore, contamination also knows no boundaries. The people of Wisconsin have a duty to stop this mess. We must all share the water. Thanks.